all members of TMA, and above all, Mr. Mohankumar. We are really very happy. In fact, I just joined in the nick of time and I saw the kind of warmth being expressed. You talking to the members and it was not stopping. That is one of the reasons that we got delayed by say 5-6 minutes. But that is that goes on to show the popularity and the connect that you have with Kerala. I'm really very happy about today's evening program because Kerala being God's own country and hospitality is the buzzword. Though the chips are somewhat down, but hospitality is what identifies Kerala. Tourism is what goes into the veins of Kerala. It is the blood that flows into the economy of Kerala. So, Mr. Mohan Kumar, with your connect with Kerala, with your stick in Kerala, because I see that you have worked in Kerala also, and with your global presence in many countries and with your experience, I'm very sure that today's lecture will be a very good learning for the entire hospitality sector because this lecture will be shared and TMA is very deeply connected with the hospitality sector in Kerala. And with this, I welcome you and I thank you very much to extend the invite and would be very happy if you can share all the experience that you have accumulated over the years with our members today. Thank you very much.
Now, as a secretary, I am taking the responsibility to introduce Mohan Kumar sir to the participants here. Actually, I am very much privileged and happy that we are having a speaker like Mohan Kumar sir for our inaugural event itself. Sir sir is actually the son of Trivandrum, our own Trivandrum, where our roots are also Trivandrum Management Association's roots are also. So, sir Mohan Kumar sir led many strategic roles at the Indian Hotels Company, which are more popular in the brand name of Taj Hotels. He was CEO of Taj Gateway. He was MD and CEO of Ginger Group, Ginger Hotels, again belonging to Taj Group. As a hotelier, he is having more than 45 plus years of experience in hospitality industry. He is considered as a turnaround specialist within Tata Group and among the hotel industry. He held significant positions in Tata Group in various geographies, New York, which include New York, Chicago, London, Colombo, Maldives. He was part of the leadership team which assigned to identify growth markets for Tata Groups. And he was renowned, he was within Tata Group, his work was acknowledged as a turnaround for the turnaround challenges which he undertook and making the underperforming assets profitable. He responsible for Taj, Gateway, Ginger, Green and Brownfield projects. He launched and renovated many of the hotels and destinations in India for Taj Group. He is now running his own company as a founder and CEO of Turnstone Hospitality LLP, a consulting firm specialized in technical operation and strategic expertise. He is consulting many of the major firms in the industry, hospitality industry. He is also independent director on the board of Evolve Back Luxury Resorts, Orange County, Asia area. He is also director PR and communication in Scal Asia, chief strategic advisor to Signum Hotels and Resorts, Cornell University General Manager Program, Strategic Leadership Workshop. So there are many such credentials which I can add on to his CV. He also served as chairman Tata Relief Committee, which led the tsunami relief operation and rehabilitation of the project affected community in Nagapattinam. So besides that, he was former board member in many of the prestigious hotel of India, prestigious hotel companies of India, which of course Taj is a great name in the hotel industry. So actually, this today's topic is actually is more relevant to Kerala because of the tourism industry, the presence of tourism industry in the state, and currently the phase which is actually happening in this. We need a turnaround at this point of time for hospitality industry in Kerala. We are after a worst affected COVID scenario, and we are in the process of revamping. We need immediate growth to ramp up our economy, the economy of the state, complete state itself. We look forward to hear from you, sir, on the wisdoms of customer relationship management, sir. The dais is on to Mohankumar, sir. Sir,
Thank
kind
you.
for your.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shishir, are you ready?
Yeah, can I
so
say
first
much,
of all, I'm, namaskaram to all of you. It's obviously a sentimental journey back to my own home city. And so they say it's all karma, I'd never imagined that actually be coming in and joining an August audience like this of the Trivandrum Management Association and be a guest speaker. So I suppose actually, first of all, I owe it to my parents for whatever I have become today. Some of you, like Sethu Madan, as he said, knows me from my kindergarten stage. So we will, of course, it will be not only just a professional interaction with some of the leading managers of Kerala, like all of you. I also probably like to do a little bit of social and strategic position of Kerala as a destination, one of India's most advanced destination, 40 states in tourism. Are we doing enough for this state? Because nature has bestowed itself so brilliantly with so much of beauty that I remember Mr. Balakrishnan, who was the tourism secretary, saying that every inch of Kerala is tourism potential. Anyway, we'll come back to that later. First of all, let me formally address Mr. Jayakumar, Mr. Unnakrishnan Gopinath. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh Jha, and of course, Mr. Sunil Kumar for inviting me and making this happen. So I'm overwhelmed by Sunil's reading out the list of things that happened. Please pardon me for taking your patience and time to go through all that. Just that I happen to be in one organization for 41 years. So obviously, I was joined as a management trainee at the Taj Mahal, Mumbai. And then my journey has, in terms of actually an official term ending, it was 2015, but my life is Taj. My life is Tata's. So that never ends. It goes on forever. Like they say, don't cry for me, Taj. I live forever for you, with you. So thank you once again. And I'm really impressed with the fact that Trivandrum Management Association has already very much in terms of the customer relations management. So Shishir, if you could start off with the presentation. I have done some very professional work, preparation. So it's going to be a little bit intense. And just want to share with all of you that the kind of approach that I have for this particular presentation is primarily on CRM. So the middle letter R, that's the most powerful and the most vital and critical letter, relationship. Harvard Business School had conducted a research about 70 years, and it went on for 70 years, which means actually subsequent generations of researchers came in and they asked two questions to the most powerful, the richest men in the world. What is it that actually, is that you're looking for? At this stage, you have everything in life. You are among the richest people in the planet. So the research that went on for 70 years, spanning about 3 years, came out with just the same common pattern for all the 3 generations of those billionaires. And there was only one word. They said, we crave for relationship. Ultimately, what really matters to me in my life at the end of this, making all the riches is not just about the money, but about having some people to ask me how I am, what I am, where I am, and just a nice words. So relationship is a very powerful word. So we will dwell on what it means in terms of customer, what it means in terms of management. So all three are three different worlds: customer, relationship, and management. It's just that it happens to be put together. But customer, of course, yeah, I think we'll go on to the slide straight, because we have a couple of things to discuss. So Shishir, shall we move on? Yeah. So I'll go straight into the principles of CRM. As I understand, as a hospitality, I represent the services sector. So the services sector, which is now going to be the new economy lead, not the manufacturing or the agriculture sector. The services sector is going to drive the economy in developing countries like India. And services economy, hospitality, services management sits at the top of the pyramid. So let's understand what is principles of CRM as I have interpreted. Customer differentiation through categorization. What is this categorization? Customer categorization means relationship is defined on the basis of customer profile. For example, you take, whichever business you are in, there are 3 or 4 customer profiles, right? Luxury, premium, price value mix, gender, age, geography, broadly categorizing. Any business that you are in, whether it's hospital, automobiles, IT, any of them, banking, you always have customer differentiation through categorization. So that's very important, because today we are talking about management leadership is all about, in the details, getting very, very microscopic in terms of understanding what is relationship. The next is, so for example, let me give you automobiles, customized design, tropicalization to Indian conditions, designing the car also to, in fact, to our size and height. Today it's all possible, co-creating with the customer. You can actually access the website of a Toyota in Japan and actually sort of specify any specific needs that you need for your car. That is the ultimate. I mean, it's the technology and human interaction has come to that level where you can actually design your own car. So then Duster positioned as a ladies car. The Duster SUV, as you know, was positioned as a ladies car. And why ladies car? Because they said that it's very safe. It's also ease of driving and it's secure. The fact that it's a big car made that lady very safe in that car. So, we are talking about ultra, specialization in terms of relationship, in terms of attractiveness for the customer. Mobile phones are constantly evolving to incorporate specific felt needs like camera features, wellness monitoring. Wellness monitoring today is a part of a mobile phone, a hand phone. Can you believe that? What all things are in store in the future? Audio interface, like the Siri for iPhone, can sort of dictate everything and guide us wherever we are. That's the level of technology with relationship that we reached. Okay, next is customer reorientation, reorganization relation to product segmentation. What is this? Customer reorganization is nothing but reorientation and behavioral and adaptability to new age skills. That means, product segmentation, there are, but let's say that I'll keep taking the hotels, for example, the luxury hotels. Then you have the premium hotels like Vivanta or the Luxury Taj. Then you have the mid-market hotels like the Gateway or the Ibis Radisson. And then you have the economy brand like the Ginger, right? As a leadership practicing manager and a leader, you have to identify and actually work on customer reorganization in relation to products. It's not individual customized. One size does not fit all. That's the most important statement I want to make. Therefore, you really need to get into specificity when it comes to identifying and profiling customers. 360-degree relationship. 360-degree relationship replace transactional with strategic. No longer should anything be transactional. If you really want to actually get your first time, for example, revolving relationship is that it's holistic, specific target audience will receive priority and preferential attention and care. That means specific target audience, for example, the first time users, right? Does the organization kind of capture the first-time users, into your data, and do you track them and see how many of them actually build themselves into repeat patronage? How many of them actually, after the repeat patronage, become loyal customers? How many of them, after becoming the loyal customers, actually sort of become your referral? They become your ambassadors. So there is the journey of a customer in terms of association with your business is so important. It's just that in India, we all go for a lot of volume. We go for large size, customer data, and in the process, we actually ignore the finer aspects of relationship. Then comes the and it's 360 degrees. So it's not necessarily that you actually talk about engaging in transactional thing only. Only on work, only on business, you have a conversation, or you have an email interaction, or even have a party or an evening, meeting in a workshop. No, you go beyond that. Relationship is not necessarily be professional. It can easily build itself into a friendship, right? And once you build into a social friendship, once you kind of take it to the next level of maturity of getting to know the person, then that particular customer becomes your friend forever. And that's what the ultimate relationship management is all about. Building and nurturing relationships unconditional. This is so important. Demonstrate spontaneity, gentility, and this thing. I want you to pay particular attention to this because I'm going to ask you a question. Sunil, I hope I'm audible and am I going fast?
Perfectly okay. You are audible.
Yeah.
You are audible.
All right. So the first question is, have you ever thanked or complimented your mother each time she gives you food or a hug? I don't think any of us has done that, right? We take it for granted. Just the same way she takes it for granted, our love, our affection, and also our protection of our mother, right? That's the ultimate in unconditional love and relationship. How many of you in the organizations are capable of driving your workforce, of your team, to reach that level of passionate, passion to build relationship with your customers? That is what your target should be. Like they say, sky is the limit, So therefore, how come a service provider then expects a thanks from a customer each time? Why should your frontline guest service agents, expect a thanks from your customer? On the contrary, it should be such an unconditional service that it comes from the heart. And then the customer gets moved. Don't expect him to compliment, but he expect him to actually be so moved and so delighted that on his own, he actually builds a relationship with you. That's the ultimate, correct? So how would you embed such a culture? So therefore, I want to ask you this question. The difference is unconditional love. And I'm really putting impossible targets in front of all of you. I'm sure there are bosses and probably their colleagues or subordinates also listening in. Then you're going to have a lot of issues for the subordinates and the juniors because the boss is listening to this. How would you embed such a culture in the organization wherein an associate develops a passion to serve? Simply because they love the organization. It's not because of just the customer. They love that organization and in turn delights the customer. Because you are the Taj. Who is the Taj? For me, I'm the Taj. Not the brick and wall and the dome and the crystal and the chandeliers, right? So therefore, every moment of truth, every moment I have to walk and sleep and represent the Taj to every customer. That's the ultimate, correct? So this is what it's all about. 6, product perfection, flawless efficiency, consistent delivery. So it's not just about the services alone. Yes, in the Eastern philosophy, in Asia, we're all talking about from the heart, whereas in the Western philosophy, it's all about from the head and mind. So they actually drive efficiencies and processes and systems and all that. And we intrinsically are people who are very emotional, high EQ. Therefore, we get into compensating for product deficiency, inefficiency, delay with all these things about sorry sir, 2 bags full. But no longer, India is getting connected with the global mindset. India is getting highly westernized in that sense. we are almost, we are part of the global, marketplace. Therefore, we need to understand that we have to build a balance between what we talk about emotional quotient, our service quotient, as well as our product efficiencies. So product perfection is very, very important. So therefore, slightly shifting from customer relationship management, it is also important that let's say in a hotel or an automobile factory or hospital or IT or any of those companies that you represent, if you have a hardware, just make sure the hardware is uptime is 100%. Nobody is going to zero tolerance for downtime. And every time it has to be what you have promised. It cannot have some deficiencies. Today, people are willing to pay for what it's valued, whether it's a luxury customer, whether it's a premium, whether it's actually a mid-market or economy, correct? Even an economic person looks at what he pays 2,000 rupees per day per room. He sees value in that. He demands value. Remember, today you are tackling with customers who are smarter than any organization. They are much, much smarter, well informed. And if they are not informed, they have the Google Guru. So coming back to focus on creating value. So what is the creating value is the mantra. CRM, product efficiency, services, relationship, all that eventually falls on to creating value for the customer. So you have to keep on asking this question, and who will tell you the answer for this value, whether I'm getting the value for the customer? It's the customer himself. So are you in constant engagement with all your captive new customers and potential customers? In fact, it should also reach out to your competition customers. Don't treat them like as enemies or someone whom you can't access. But that's your job, to make sure that you know the entire marketplace, the full 100% pie. Next is focus on long-term customer relationship. This is extremely important because you are in the business not for short-term, mid-term. You are actually in the business to grow your organization, whether it's actually SME, whether it's a startup, whether it's a large organization, whether you are actually a mid-cap. The point is that everyone is working towards making your organization and your business sustainable, correct? So in that, focus on long-term customer relationship is extremely important. So also remember, today, hardware, there is an asset value for the hardware, for the product. There's an asset value for the brand, but there's also an asset value for the customer data, customer relationship quotient, correct? It's not just the customer data. Out of that customer data that you have, let's say if you have some 100,000 customers, it doesn't matter. It's just a number, a name. How many of them actually owe loyalty towards you? How many of them swear by you? How many of them can you pick up your phone and call them and have a chat with you and say, listen, sir, we are in trouble post-COVID. We don't have business. Can you please, this is the time for you to help us. Correct? Or dear madam, that's the ultimate. That's the level of relationship that one has to aim for. Yeah. Okay, Shishir. We'll go into the next one. Yeah. So this is another version, at the end of the day, it's all different dimensions for practicing managers. And those of you who have also been, specialized in business management, leaders of management. I'm humbled to actually share my knowledge, but I certainly recognize the fact that many of you who are listening to me are a lot more superior in thinking, thought leaders, and in practicing. So it's just that I'm sharing my own version of what I mean by CRM. So phases of CRM. Number one, acquiring new relationships. Just imagine that this is not meant only for a startup. Please remember, even the TATA group, which is 250 years old, every day, thousands of new customers are walking into its portals, whether it's actually a hotel, whether it's actually a Tata Steel, or whether it's actually the Tata Chemicals or any of those companies, right? Or a Godrej or a Mahindra. So there's acquiring new relationships. So a customer, the salesperson actually goes off, identifies the customer, and then engages in kind of a transactional, engagements. And eventually the customer decides to take a purchase decision and comes over to you. Are you tracking? Do you know that particular moment when he actually he's experiencing the moments of truth when he's interacting, when he's actually engaged. Let's say, okay, this is today is the day where I probably go and buy some steel from Tata Steel, and he contacts and kind of, there are, whether it's a steel, whether it's actually a nice cup of cappuccino, coffee, the customer's perception and judgment is more or less the same. So am I getting attention? Beyond buying a product, a steel or a car or a coffee, the value additions are the human interaction. What is the moments of truth? Am I being valued? Am I being made important? Am I comfortable here? Is that an experience that I'm going through, a positive experience that I'm going through by, entering into a customer relationship with this organization, with this product? These are huge challenges for all of you who are actually commanding or have multi-geography, different diverse businesses where perhaps you are not in charge or not, invisible as to the transactions that are happening across the country. But the challenge for the organization and for the CEOs and the leaders is that how do you create a organizational culture? So that is, if the organization culture is created, then from the word go, every single new customer would be greeted, would be identified, and a new relationship will actually become, will commence with that person. Next is, so that's the first phase. You really have to pay a lot of importance and focus on the new customers. A new customer becomes an everlasting customer. Remember, losing one customer, if you have to actually multiply that, if you have to quantify the value of loss of a potential customer forever, can you imagine what it would run into? Crores, billions of dollars, because you would never know what was the potential of that customer. Therefore, you have to create a specialized culture that apart from whatever you are, whichever, automized products, anything, at the end of the day, there is no business that it can exist without a customer. Next is enhancing existing relationship. There's a famous story of how you actually go around and capture all the customers, keep them captive, and then run after new customers. Well, then what happens? It will be like a water tank with, you have the drain pipe at the bottom, and you also have a bottom pipe for the inlet. The inlet water comes in, but you never know the water is actually being drained out. So your existing customers are key. And today, we are living in an era where there is no brand loyalty. There's no loyalty at all. But there can be relationship. That's the beauty of customer relationship. There need not necessarily be loyalty, but if there is a sensitive relationship, if there's a touch of cord, I'll come to that later. Mohankumar is in Colombo. Oh, he's in Chennai now. Hey, I didn't know that. Let me give that business to Taj because Mohan is there. I know him. There is a certain piece of comfort. There, suddenly that relationship unfolds in front of him and says, "Oh, Mohan is there, then Taj is mine." That's the power of relationship. Just the same way, if I know any one of you and I come to you, oh my God, Sunil, oh, he's there in this business, then it's easy. Otherwise I'm a stranger and the whole organization I'm stepping into is a stranger. So relationship is, so therefore you really need to keep on nurturing it. You cannot take it for granted. There are many techniques with which you can nurture existing relationships with your existing business customers. Then comes retention. That's another challenge. So it's a cycle. The phases of CRM is an ongoing, unending cycle. That's the point I wanted to make here. I want to rush on because I suppose actually at some point of time there'll be an alarm bell coming in. So next is Sushir, steps to improve CRM. Yeah, I'll dwell a little later. Steps to improve CRM. This is probably for most of the nascent organizations and organizations that are sort of getting seriously into a mature, stable level business. Startups and new organizations, a lot of young profile associates are there in the organizations, or it's a new economy business, or it's something that is a diverse, innovative, disruptive business. In all that, at the end of the day, you have to have a method for the madness. You have to have systems, you have to have processes, you have business excellence culture, and everything has to be in a very structured, orderly manner. So it is not about adultism. It is not about individual relationship with customers. Like the traditional theoretical CRM is all about putting into software, driving it through software, and technology taking full command, because technology. The difference between technology and human being is there is no sick leave, there is no privilege leave, there is no off day, and there is no break for coffee or lunch. Imagine whom we are fighting with. That's the robot. He is going to take away, or she's going to take away a whole lot of jobs. Understand? Yeah, but in this particular case about relationships in a services sector, if you become the super specialist of customer relationship management, along with, of course, your domain expertise, that is where it makes all the difference. Because I can tell you confidently, and this could be 100 years from today, relationship, no way it can be substituted by technology. So build a database, analyze, define types profitably. So you kind of build a culture that is all the time dynamic. So every single new customer has to be driven database, analyze, define type profitability. You really need to know each and every customer. And each and every human being in this planet is different, as we all know. Their aspirations are different, their likes are different, everything about that person is different, unique. So do organizations have the capability to identify your customer? To what extent? What is the percentage of depth, penetration do you have in understanding your customers? Have you ever mapped what is your size of customer population? Is it 50,000? Is it 20,000? Is it 30,000? Or is it 100, 50? And out of that, what can you, how will you sort of measure what the penetration? 20%, 10%, 15%? I can easily call today after post-COVID and say that those guys are going to come back to me, regardless of what. This is the test. Post-COVID, Corona has given us and taught us, all of us, across the planet, a whole lot of things. One of the things that the Corona is teaching us is, hello, don't take customer for granted. And the customer is going to now come up with a whole lot of new demands. Okay, are you ready? We are all post-COVID bias, so we know what exactly you've been fooling us with. Now we want this. Yeah, we don't want this. We want to make sure that your hotel is 100% hygiene, not just certificates of HACCP and all that things lagging on the wall. I'll come to the kitchen. I may come from the hotel from the back entrance and see your garbage room first. And then I'll take a call whether I should give you, 500 room nights for this year or not. So that is the kind of wisdom and knowledge and maturity customers are gaining today. Information is getting so exploded that you have no idea from where the customers or consumers are going to come up with demands. Okay, next one. So in this, I just want to say back, Shishir, I just want to say there is this famous Professor Prahlad and C.K. Krishnaswamy, I think, wrote a book called Co-Creating with the Customer. I would recommend that all of you just browse through that, go through it. It's called Co-Creating with the Customer. So today it's all about co-creating, whether it's an experience, whether it's a product, or whether it's actually designing a service. At the end of the day, remember, whatever the best of designs, the process or systems that you might come up with, in about few hours, he can debunk it. He can destroy it, he or she, customer. Because unless you really go to research, create a pattern. There's a lot of research you have to do in terms of understanding the behavioral patterns of the target audience, right? So the target audience behavioral pattern, once you have known that, for example, simple thing like, customer likes aesthetics. Customer is very style quotient, is very, very particular, sensitive about how the agent, the frontline agent is dressed, how he talks, how he interacts, how his engagement, what is his power of the language, and all that stuff. Sophistication, aesthetics, those are things which are now coming in. And then they take the new generation, especially this, Gen X and Gen Y and the new millennials, They're all about, they are exposed to the whole world. There are millions of Indians who have never gone anywhere out of town, but they know about New York and Chicago and London and all that at the tip of a finger. So they imbibe all that. They expect the same thing from you, the next door office where they're coming in, right? That's the expectation. There's always an expectation level. And that's very exciting for the bosses, the leaders of the organizations to keep those expectations, what we call stretch targets. Keep a stretch targets, because stretch targets will actually create a lot of excitement among your associates. Yeah. Next, Shishi. This is another very exciting, slide which talks about, this is a macro level. The famous foreign minister of India, one of the most famous foreign ministers, one of the most compassionate foreign ministers of India, late Sushma Swaraj. I'm sure all of you remember it, that she was not just a foreign minister. She was a lady and a politician with a heart. Many, many examples, and she was very Twitter active. So anyone, anywhere in the world, any Indian could Twitter her, the foreign minister, whether it's your loss of a passport or visa or getting stranded or any of those things. And it all came out in the media. I'm sure all of you know about it. So she is remembered for that. There are many, many families in Middle East or in New York or in America or in Europe who have tweeted to her about embassy not being very tough with them, or the foreign. There's also been an incident where a particular woman, a minority community woman, actually tweeted to her about passport. She was being profiled, and a passport was being delayed by a passport officer, and she, on the phone, suspended him. So what is it all about? So relationship can be practiced by anyone. It is not just the responsibility of the private sector or the institutions and all that. Today, globally, whether it's the president of the United States, to anyone, political leaders, everybody is exposed and vulnerable to the electronic media. There are so many media, social media. They're all powerful, and technology, that's, thank God, that's one thing that we have to acknowledge. Technology has really brought in huge power on your palm, right? And then it is also connected. Therefore, everyone is accountable, and the customer is the ultimate king or empress today, because they can tweet, right? As they eat in a restaurant, I know as a general manager, they have tweeted about the soup being cold, and within seconds, 1,000 potential customers get to know, and you don't get to know. You're at home, your steward is not getting to know, none of them get to know, but he's doing it in the privacy of his palm device. Correct? That is the power. Now, would he do it if he is actually having a loyalty towards your hotel? Would he do it if he has a relationship, a friendship with one of the managers? He'll say, he's a human being. He'll say, okay, if he gets a feeling that this hotel or this organization will listen to my complaint, I don't have to do all this. Let me just give them a chance and talk to them, or write to them, or Twitter to them, or do whatever, some engagement. That's where the trigger point is. Most of the organizations are not equipped for it even today, to sensitize them, frontline staff, to capture those those potential dynamites. If they ignore to their peril, then the next thing that they're going to do is to put in the TripAdvisor or in anything. And that's going to happen to hospitals, that's going to happen to banks, that's going to happen to every product and service in this country within 20 years. India is very backward in terms of reforms, and in many ways in terms of regulatory measures, and also opening up the market. Today in the US, every single thing except the government, they themselves are also accountable to the customer, right? So very soon, we all as a community, we will all have to get used to the fact that we stand exposed for any deficiencies or failure in our delivery or promise. Correct? So you have to also be extremely careful when you create a strategic plan or your brand promise. You should, one thing that I advise you is under promise and over deliver. Please don't over promise and no delivery at all. They can destroy your business in one couple of social media things, right? It can create a dent. So that's what we are talking about, customer retention and stickiness. How, customer retention and stickiness is a very important point. I think, yeah. See, I want to talk about psychological skills. It's called psycho skills. You could be an introvert or an extrovert, or you could be intellectual thinkers. Bright, smart people are wired from the left side, as you all know, right? Engineers, with no disrespect to them, they're highly hardwired on the left side of the brain. Lawyers, whereas like say a priest in a temple is not left wired. He's very emotional. A mother is very emotional. Hospitality people, hotel people like us are highly right wired. Artists, creative people, highly right wired, right? So there is a difference, and you can't change much about that, because that's the way your background is. But so today in the organizations, leaders, we are also getting into how do we connect both the right and left side brain. You need to really keep, yoga could be one of the best examples, but there are so many other techniques by which you have to make sure that the left right chaps are also getting into the right side, and the right guys are also getting into the left side. When it comes to relationship and customer listening, psycho skills, frontline staff are consciously assessing non-verbal signals of the customers is very important. Body language, signs, those things at the customer front ending needs to be, you have the frontline agent has to have the skill and the consciousness to assess it. Yeah, this customer is getting irritated. Somebody's waiting in the lounge and you are attending someone and somebody else comes in, that is immediately show on the face of the person who's waiting. Orderly waiting, compliant person, he's waiting in the queue, and you actually violate, unconsciously get, picking up the phone and talking to somebody else. And these are irritants. These are the moments of truth. These are the times when the customer is taking a judgment call on the MD of that organization, on the CEO, on the human resources people, on everybody around, because that shows that this frontline person who's sitting there and interacting with the customer is not at all sensitized. So seamless and touchless access to product and services experience. Today all of us want less hassles. Get to the point. And like checking in today, in the early days in a hotel, you have to wait in the queue. You have to check in. You have to do a whole lot of things. 10 minutes, and then the elevator you have to wait. Then the bellboy will bring the baggage. Then you open the door. Today, you can go in, check in with your card, right? The cutting edge of checking into hotels today, you can do it on your mobile. You don't have to, there is lobbies becoming redundant. Reception is becoming redundant. Guests can go in, check into the room, and millennials like unobtrusive privacy. They like to do everything I, me, and myself, and they just want service when it's required. They check out also. Sometimes you don't even know the guests are checking in and checking out. This is already happening in European countries, correct? When are we going to do? Same thing will happen in all of the products, whether it's a hospital today, right? Tomorrow, nobody, zero tolerance for waiting. That's the mantra. Ultimate relationship is all that. How do you create a design, a system, process, layout, whole lot of things. Design has to bring in this, the concept of design has to be brought into the center of your planning, of your product, as well as your service, and also in terms of the facilities. Because then the customer gets a seamless and touchless access to the product and services. Okay, next. Okay, now I come to my core area. Sunil, how many more minutes? Or Mr. Rajesh? Mike, unmute your mic.
Please go on. Please go on.
Thank you. Hospitality and hospitality, travel, tourism. I want to dwell on this subject. It's not because I spent all my life there. It is now eventually. It is already the case in the developed countries like the US or Europe. As you know, hospitality and tourism and travel professionals are not just employed in the hospitality, travel, and tourism in the US or Europe. the hotel management schools in Switzerland, Cornell University, they actually train. You can go and, it will be multi-skilled. You can be the frontline manager of any services organization. And as you all know, that many today from the catering colleges all across the country, the best of the colleges, they choose non-hospitality jobs because they get picked up by hospitals, banks, whole lot of companies which actually are wanting hospitality professionals to come and create the culture of hospitality and services, relationships, customer relation management in their organizations. So therefore, this is a very important slide. And you can see a pyramid, the Egyptian pyramid, and then you can see sits on the top of the pyramid, who? The hospitality. So because we cannot, that is a bread and butter. When I was a management trainee, I was never allowed to talk to the guest for about 1 year, right? I can observe and watch, and there's a badge that I put on called the trainee, because he is God or goddess standing in front of you, and only somebody who is already certified, competent, and in the shift can interact and talk. And when you talk, we all have supposed to be like always groomed up. We are like on stage. We are watched like the famous In Search of Excellence movie. The Disneyland. I hope all of you know about Tom and Jerry or any of them. They're all ordinary people in Disneyland. They are coming in ships. They check in as John, let's say, and they go through an assembly line. And by the time they come up to go up to the Disneyland park, they become Mickey Mouse, right? John becomes a Mickey Mouse every 8 hours in his life, every day. But it's written there, listen, Mr. John, you are no longer John. You are Mickey Mouse. So behave like a Mickey Mouse. Don't you ever think that you're John. That's the kind of brainstorming that's done by Disneyland, the ultimate in service excellence. So it's all about training. It's all about culture. And it's all about walking the talk by the leader, right? So like, for example, the general manager stands in the lobby. He becomes the example for the receptionist. How does he talk? How does he engage? Does he come over when there's a complaint from a guest and all that stuff, right? So therefore, hospitality, experiential and personalized. Today, as you know, hospitality is down in its knees across the world. And the only way in which we can survive is by bringing in back the customers through our heart and our service. So, and today the customers are looking at experience. They're not looking at product. They're not looking at service. What is it that I can experience in this hotel? Whether it's a leisure hotel or whether it's a business city hotel. What's this? Is the fragrance? Is the fragrance nice? Is the signature music is nice? When I go into the room, how is the shower experience? They call it shower experience. They call it the TV experience, right? And unobtrusive yet sensitive with efficient service deliverables. Today, all of us are busy, very busy executives. The CEO will be the highly stressed individual. So when he's checking into the hotel or a hospital, for that matter, anyone, he or she wants to be served. And limited engagement. Don't go over the board in talking to the person. As far as possible, as a well-trained professional, whether you are supposed to gauge the mood of the guest and selectively, individually, engage with the guest. So again, I was telling you, it's not one service fits all. So how much are our organizations? My emphasis is how much. Just assess yourself, as I'm telling you. How many of your associates in your company are so well trained to identify every single customer and build a relationship? You may have 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Yes, there are Six Sigma organizations in the world today who have received around, who have consistently scored about 80 to 90% relationship quotient with their customers. But nobody has scored 100. It's impossible to reach 100% because every day a new customer is coming into your organization. But you can always keep that as the target. So loyalty, there is no more loyalty in the world. It's all experience driven. It's all about me and myself. I will choose my experience. I don't care which brand. I don't care whether it's Taj or Oberoi or a Hyatt. It doesn't matter. And by the way, I'm not even loyal to Honda City or a Mercedes or a BMW. It doesn't matter. What matters is that what is my experience. So today I may have a BMW, tomorrow I may have an MG, right? And day after I'll have this thing. Because technology, gentlemen and ladies, is a great leveler. It's an open source. Technology is making sure that all our products are more or less the same, similar. That's why innovation keeps on going. But innovation means if somebody innovates something today, tomorrow the competitor is already ahead of you with something else. So what is a differentiator? The differentiator that can actually create a stickiness, loyalty, relationship with consumers is, your relationship, passionate attention. How do you make all your customer friend guests very passionate, obsessively passionate, like Mohankumar? I was blamed to be obsessively passionate in my organization. And unfortunately, that was the way in which I drove my team also. That's my reputation. And the Taj West End, where I was the final general manager before I went to Bombay as a CEO, I was the area director and general manager of one of the world's best luxury hotels. Before 2008, Lehman's collapse, that hotel, as you all know, in Bangalore, the rates were very expensive. We were commanding 25,000 rupees per day per room, 117 rooms. And those rooms, as you know, Western Hotel is a spread of 20 acres in the middle of Bangalore, and we had to give the ultimate in service, right? The world's best, the CEOs were IBM chairman had his board meeting there. So it is not that each day nobody spares us, right? We have to be on the feet like the Siachen troops. That is hospitality. So many of them don't even survive for a long journey. Only those who are obsessively passionate can really build, elevate even a hospital. Like the Mount Mary Hospital, Elizabeth Hospital in Singapore attracts the wealthy Indians they don't come to any of the India's hospitals. We have the best doctors in the world. We have the best, maybe the best equipments, but we don't have hospitality in hospitals. The basic principles of checking in, checking out, and in-house experiences disasters in most of the hospitals. And unfortunately, the doctors and head of the medical insurance don't even realize that is why there is no luxury hospital in India. People, there is a product segmentation, mind you. There are clear product segmentation among the patients in terms of luxury, premium, mid-market, and economy. Like in Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal has concentrated on those clinics and made them government schools and this thing so clean and neat, right? So he focused it. He understood that even the normal, ordinary people, budget-conscious people would love something that's clean, basic hygiene, and also some basic services. So it's all about relationship. And today, healthcare, school, education, hoteliering, dining out, food, all the services, it's not about the product that they are judgment on. They're always judging on how relationships are made, how services are done, how facilities are done. New norm for economy products, a slice of luxury. See, so there is going to be a huge segmentation of products and services in the world, because 6 billion people, if that's your target as a dream, you want to be a world-class company, 6 billion is your target, the planet's population. And these 6 billion people, unfortunately, are not in the same category. As you know, like a pyramid, there's a luxury, the ultra rich, then the rich, then the upper middle class, then the middle class, and then the lower class, and then of course those who actually cannot even, but they are highly aspirational. India has 1.25 billion people. Out of that, we are talking about 200 million, which are into this middle class. What happens when the other is 600? Rest of the population also, who have aspirations, move into this market. Are we able to cope up? And are we able to retain them? Next is infusion of style and design quotient. See, in every single business, there's an image, there is a style quotient. Okay, please ensure that this is brought in, because a lot of the manufacturing products, a lot of you who are actually left by it, do not give much importance to the look and feel and the aesthetic touches, the touch points. Okay, so it's extremely important. Like you can see our own prime minister, what is the difference, at least in terms of his grooming. He's very conscious. So and that's his marketing brand strength, right? There's somebody who's obviously giving him all the attention and specialized attention in how he dresses, how he presents himself as the image of India. So it's so important. So gone are the days when politicians or bureaucrats, for example, they will be in simple shirt and trouser and walking around because hey, it's all about your head, man. It's nothing about your looks. No, it's about everything. It's all about everything. Like President Obama, he's one of the brightest presidents ever. So look, he's extremely conscious of his dressing, right? Or presentation. Let me put it that way. Brand stickiness, ease of booking, loyalty, safety, hygiene. How easy is the journey of a customer, a new customer, accessing your business? This whole journey of, moments of truth starts from the time you have a telephone call. How does he contact you? How does she contact you? Is it through mail? Is it through advertisement? Is it through some medium, right? And at that point, touch point, how does that person representing your company engage with that person? Those are moments of truth. And then the decisions, the judgments are taken from that particular experience itself, right up to the experience of the product or the service, correct? Then comes the brand stickiness. Then comes the top of the mind recall. Then, so all those psychological things that happens in the minds of a consumer is all a result, a total sum of, of all the parts, sum of all the parts. It's not just one thing. And because he or she has a choice today. And everything that you are putting it up, they have a choice. Yeah. So thank you, Shishir. Go ahead. Next one. I just want to kind of slow down here and tell you about a story, experiences, because, these anecdotes, every organization must have a historian. Remember, please try and create, a group of enthusiastic associates as historians, because they, they actually kind of, there are lots of case studies, lot of stories, lot of engagements, lot of gossip, lot of things are going on in your industry, in your company, right? Lot of chat, right? So those are what we call, experiences. What we don't learn from a business school or from a training class in an organization. We learn on the shop floor by experiencing it. So we learn it from a veteran or a senior person. But unfortunately, there is no mechanism for any organization to capture those learnings from a senior veteran. It could be a foreman. It could be a cashier, in the bank, or it could be a hospital compounder, right? Rich experience. It's all in his mind. It's never captured. It's never kind of taken out and put it in the archives of the company as intellectual knowledge, IP, as your intellectual property, and there is so much, and the employee walks away with it. So is there a mechanism to do it? Because that is about, let me share a professional and personal story of how I was involved in coordinating and reaching standard guests in the Maldives. During the tsunami, I was in charge of TATA Relief Committee as, and I'm very proud of it because it was a huge effort. We spent 35 to 40 crores. And, but I was the area director, CEO of the Orient Hotels in Chennai, and general manager of Taj Coromandel. And 31st, this happened on December. We were planning to have our Christmas, New Year's Eve. And suddenly gets a call from Mr. Tata's office, Mr. Krishna Kumar's office, saying that, Mohan, just drop everything and get on to the Tata Relief Committee and go straight to Nagapattinam. And I went there, and it was just, I could not bear to see what was the scene there. Dead bodies all over the place. I'm a hotel manager, right? But my heart was all about that. So that journey lasted for about 35, 40 days. I was very involved in it. And one of them was actually rescuing the guests from the Maldives resort, top of the family, children, son. And this is imminent threat of the tsunami approaching the resort. It is not a hit, right? Because there was a lag time. And we had to quickly airlift them and bring them over to Colombo or to the Malay capital city. And so the story is all about how the frontline staff, all of us, risked our lives. It said we will be the last one to get out. So we managed to get everybody out, and they all wanted to pack their baggage and everything that they could get hold of, and then get them all out of the place. Now, this was an extraordinary effort because it was a life-threatening situation. Yet, but it was hardly reported as the Bombay terrorist attack. But this is happening in world's best hotels or world's best hospitals, or like the COVID warriors today, the doctors and the nurses, and the Indian Army, armed forces. I mean, you can talk about every single business, every human activity. There are lots of such warriors happening. They do it risking their lives, going out of the way. Are they valued? Are those employees valued? Are you having a town hall meeting, celebrating them on a monthly basis? Do you have a complementary culture, not complaint culture? Don't give attention to people who are failing, who are making mistakes. Because larger audience, majority of your employees want to hear every day something positive. They want to energize themselves. They want to actually feel positive. They want to know there's a sense of belonging, and therefore celebrate success. Every meeting, every town hall, every communication to the employees should be all about celebration, all about praising them, recognizing them. It could be intangible, tangible. Nobody is bothered about the tangible things like incentive, some cash award or some coupons and all that. Those are all gone. What is emotional loyalty is all about the sense of belongingness, sense of recognition, sense of worth. My self-esteem, that comes out. So is the organization capturing that? Am I being valued here? And imagine Mohan and he is just a simple shake hand and a pat. That's enough. The entire audience. And next 24 hours, I used to do this. A gardener, I would call a gardener from the Taj Western Hotel, and he would not know. He'll be there in the town hall meeting. We have presentation. Suddenly his picture and his gardening, he's doing something so valuable. He is not being watched, and he's taking a sapling with gingerly hands and planting it. We captured that, put it in the screen, got this man, he was 37 years experience, and then we brought him to the stage. He was so emotional, he was full of tears that he just couldn't, he was overwhelmed. He said, my God, I can't believe it, that this is happening to me. Next 1 year, from that moment till today, he's a hero. Right? So that is the ability of organizations. So this is what I wanted to share with you. We'll go on to the next one. Okay, we are coming to the end of our presentation. Institutionalizing it. All that we are talking about today, I have shared with you, and maybe actually this is, whatever I've shared with you becomes part of your vast knowledge that you already have. I'm only probably trying, in this forum, trying to awaken as a hospitality professional that you have gold mine or a diamond mine within your organizations. Mine them, explore them consciously as a leader. Be conscious every moment. Just be like Sadhguru says, just be conscious. That's all you have to be every moment. See what is happening around, 360-degree view of your organizations all around. And then you can capture the human beings and catch them, like they say, 1 minute manager. Go around and catch people doing things right, not wrong. And especially if you're focusing on customer relationship management, go around and look at, just watch how a frontline person is engaged with the customer, and then go back after the customer is gone to that lady or a boy and say, listen, you've done a great job. I liked it. Thank you. I could make out from your body language how much of effort you're putting in with that very difficult customer, you know. So you need to really capture all this. Your CCTV cameras today capture a lot of such interactions. Are you watching them? Are you taking them out and putting it in the town hall meetings and celebrating? So thoughtful acts and special gestures go a long way in building everlasting memory and customers. Yeah, goodwill. Customers who benefit from such exceptional service and outreach make it a point to, as a reason for Sushir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this screen is covering me. Yeah. Anyway, so let me share yet another personal story for collaborating. See, I had a very close friend who was the head of airlines. Okay, he was a very successful CEO of this airline company, and so he obviously suffering all the time, and his family and two children could not have much time with him. And then came his 60th birthday, and I was at the Taj Coromandel, very close friend of mine. So his wife and we are family friends from Bangalore. So Mohan, what can I do to this man? He has looked after us. He has given us everything that I want, his wife said, and his two children. I said, okay, let's sit down and talk. He says, we will do something that he'll be floored. He said, are you sure? Because he's got everything. He said, no, I'll tell you what he can do. And it was his 60th birthday. We planned to book a room. First of all, everything is in secrecy, right? He doesn't even know. So we planned it in his room. We found out, I knew all about his preferences, research. What is it that will touch an emotional chord on him? Is, you know, the way he likes his curd rice, or paniyaram, as they say, all those things, right? And the kind of liquor and what, how much of soda he wants it, or chocolate and likes it. But most important was, I made a collage of all his lifetime pictures, family and professional. Okay, it was in the screen. Then the ultimate was, we also printed his face, and for all the face mask for all the guests. We invited all his friends. We invited his schoolmate, classmates, some of his friends who are long lost friends. We managed to get them either on the screen or physically there. Now, what did we do? These are going out of the way, right? There's nothing to do with commercial benefit. It's about giving back to a loyal customer for his loyalty and for his patronage of you, right? This is his moment, and the organization, the hotel or the company honors him, right? And it has to be honored in a way that it is very, very refined, very emotional. It is always the emotional chord that touches a customer, any human being. So we had all the guests inside, dark, and then the plan came, the day came, and his wife said, okay, hey, listen, what would you do? And he has not planned anything. He said, okay, wedding anniversary and all that stuff. No, it is birthday. So the wife said, okay, let's go to Taj Coromandel for a nice private dinner, just us, chill. He said, I like that idea. He said, let's go. That's my favorite hotel also, and Mohan is there. So he came as planned. So I pretend as if of course, I wished with the morning, and there was a table kept in the restaurant. So she walked into the restaurant, and then by the time I said, see, okay, let's just go and see. We want to have a party. After she sat down in the restaurant to make it very real, she brought him and his kids onto this banquet hall. It was all dark. Corridor was dark. Hall was dark. Everything was locked. And then he came along. He said, okay, let's have a look. But there's nobody here. He told his wife, no, we'll get somebody to open. So that was a signboard. We'll get somebody to open was the code. The moment she said, the door opened, it was dark, and suddenly the lights came up, and all the guests were there in mask, his face. And that was a celebration. And he was just completely floored. So, what I said this was just to tell you, you can go to any extent to delight and make your customer feel absolutely belonging to your organization. And for that, you have to also empower your frontline staff, your managers, and there should be a culture of, customer centricity in your organization. I think that's the end of the show. I think there are a few more slides. We'll just go through it in 2 minutes, and then I'll take on questions and answers. These are we are sharing this with the Trivandrum Management Association. So you can go through it at your leisure. Top 10s for 2021. Age of customer experience, artificial intelligence, mobile CRM, social CRM, more user-friendly, one-touch solutions, CMs won't live in vacuum, right? And channel-less CRM. So in ultimately, when it comes to the top, as you can notice, the number one is age of customer experience. Personalized, intelligent, real-time is the differentiator, is what I like to say about this particular slide. Yeah, next one, last one, I think. Sushil?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm through. I hope actually I've been able to share some of the passion in my journey that I learned, and I had a chance to demonstrate or give to the Taj and to my organization, and I continue to do that. And I very firmly believe that ultimately it's the customer who makes your life. It's the customer, and believe me, I just want to say I will never talk about anything that I've not done. So I have more than two, three generations of guests who are now my lifetime friends. They have come for my daughter's weddings. They are in touch with me all over the world, and sometimes embarrassing, but many of them actually I don't even remember. But they tell you, Mohan, listen, you did this for me and the Taj Samudra, or you did this for me in New York hotel. So it's a wonderful journey. I wish I'm born again to go back to the same old Taj Mahal Hotel, Mumbai. It's a beautiful property. And those of you who have not seen it and experienced it, you must go there. It's for me a shrine, and I keep that as part of my puja every day to live, because the organization is what has made us. And Tatas probably are the best to work for in the world. So because it gives you that freedom. But there are many Tata companies that India needs. India needs a lot of compassionate capitalism. India needs a lot of you becoming legends, not just by brilliant in business success, but legends in building India's future in terms of talent and people. That's what I want to conclude. Thank you so much, Sunil, and thank you to all of you for this patient listening. If there are any questions, I'm happy to say. Thank you, Shishir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for a great evening and sharing your experience. It is all a learning experience and experience for all of us. But we have a lot of questions coming on the chat box. But due to paucity of time, I think that we can take 2-3 questions, sir. One question which I randomly chosen was, the question is that post-corona, what all will be the new normals in the hospitality industry? When do you think the hospitality sector would go back to its glory and revenue figures of 2019? The first part of
First of all, sorry,
what
shall
all
I go
will be
ahead?
the new normals?
What is the last one?
Second part is, when do you think the hospitality will regain its past glory?
Yeah, okay. First of all, the post-COVID corona, first of all, let this corona syndrome don't consume us. I think there has been more hype about corona than it's the real threat, because there are, as you know, as intelligent analytical mind, all of us should know that there are a lot of alternate news that are going around across the world saying that this is not the end of the world, and this is not necessarily the one which has impacted your lives. There are many other illness and threats that are happening in the world, but it's not just that the media has got the hype. Yes, it's true that this is certainly very fatal and critical. We'll take it in the very serious way. But when it comes to mindset, when it comes to, let's talk about the hotels. Okay, the hotels, many hotels, you have to have the ability to bounce back. You have to have that ability. That's what managers means. Managers and leaders means you have to your crisis, you stand up and handle crisis, situations. They say that the best of you comes out when there's a crisis. The best of you must come out when there's a situation. So in the case of COVID, there is a serious situation. It's something that has happened once a century. It's almost a whole lot of businesses are closing. My take is that look for opportunities. There's always a window. So create a window if they don't have an opportunity. A building with a hotel can actually function as anything else other than hotels. So it's an out of the box thinking. During the last 6 months, many hotels in the Taj were converted into hospitals and COVID patients and whole lot of things. That's one. Secondly, they also went out of the way to came out with new businesses. Do you know that some of these hotels had a lot of car parking spaces? They rented it out as car parking spaces. Because at the end, it came to such a serious situation where cash flow was actually became the mantra, the survival, correct? So for getting cash flow, chefs were sent to homes, rich people's houses to demonstrate and take training classes for them, for the housewives or homemakers. Can you believe all those things? Then of course, about the home catering and home delivery. So there are a whole lot of businesses that can, that a lot of hotels did during the COVID time. There's another thing that one can do is to truncate. If you think logically, you obviously you don't want 100 rooms. So is there any way in which you can truncate the business and make it sizable so that you can manage with the kind of staff and the kind of quantum of business that is coming in? You truncate your product size, okay, so that you can survive. But the most important thing is you have to have what we call a competency analysis. It's not that everybody you can retain, but you should know whom to retain. Who are your key critical staff, your core staff? So that's where you have to become a bit realistic and practical. You have to ensure that your core competency, key critical staff are somehow or the other retained. Even if you have to beg, borrow, and do whatever you want, don't let away your core competency staff. People, like for example, in a hotel, it's about the chef, or about a housekeeper, or about a computer, IT specialist. There are so many. We have done what is called competency mapping. So you have to do a competency mapping and ensure that the key staff, 20 to 30%, the Pareto principle of 20-80% should be applied. So because hotel can be maintained, whole lot of things can be maintained, but people, when you get back to the business, the most important resource would be to get back your best staff. Because always remember one thing, the best staff that you have are marketable and they can easily get another job. So that's where your business, if there is, like they say in strategic analysis of your business, what is the biggest threat of existential threat for you? It's the talent, not hardware, not about any process systems. It's a talent. So how do you retain talent? That's where I think there should be a lot of focus on. And there are so many examples of that, which I can talk to privately to whoever wants my advice in this. And the second question was, what is that second question?
When do you think the hospitality sector would go back to glory and revenue figures of 2019?
Understood. So I see, let's be realistic. I don't think that's going to happen in the next 1 or 2 years. But it is already happening in the case of drive-away destinations. For example, Trivandrum. You have a drive-away destination called Kovalam, right? It's about 3 hours or whatever. Now, you have to make sure that all the resorts in Kovalam come up with a completely new infrastructure in terms of attracting the Trivandrumites, both all the professionals and families and all that, to come and experience their resorts. There's a perception, even in Trivandrum, that, oh my God, it's expensive. Whether it's a Taj Green Cove is inexpensive, how can I even think of it? And unfortunately, Taj Green Cove or any of the hotels have to sensitize themselves and say, what is the affordable purchase price point of these people whom I want to attract? They're a new customer. They're not your existing customers. And even the existing customers are also now today You know, they're so they are cash strapped. Therefore, they're all you know, the consumers are now very conscious, value conscious, and they do not want to come out, but they all want to get out. They all want to get out. Seize that opportunity to bring them to your properties. Never mind the profit. Never mind the margins. Get them back. Just make sure that you cover the cost. Do you have the guts and the courage to tell your company and your bosses that, listen, I want to get them back first? That's my mantra. And because this is real, we are not going to get away with this corona or anything for the next 1 or 2 years as far as hospitality industry is concerned. So we are going for a long haul. Except, as I told you, drive away destinations all over across the country are going to be benefited. Coorg, for instance, in Bangalore, is 80% occupancies in the last 3 months at a 50% ARR of what they were. They were around 15,000 or 20,000. Today, they are at 8,000 at 80% occupancy. I'm on the board of Orange County. It's doing extremely well. Then nobody thought of it, but everybody is going there because today leisure hotels also. What is the difference between a business hotel and leisure hotel? Technology is there. They convert that into a work from home situation. So if they go for 3 days to Kovalam, they can continue to be connected with the business world while they actually enjoy the leisure time too. So that's my solution.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
A lot of
Hello?
other questions also, but
Hello?
due to paucity of time,
Hello.
we will continue. We will stop our question and answer session now. Now I invite our joint secretary, Mr. Unnikrishnan Gopinath, for delivering the vote of thanks. I request all other members who have participated. We will share the email ID of Mr. Mohankumar, so that you can directly, if you, some of the questions he had kindly agreed to take it offline, so you can directly take over those questions through email. Now I request Unnikrishnan Gopinath to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening.
Unnikrishnan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. Can you hear? Hello. Hello.
Unnikrishnan, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Ah.
I'm here. Hello. Thank you very much, Ms. Mohan. For this
Unni, can you be
evening.
slightly louder?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohankumar, for this wonderful evening. This is actually our first session after the new committee has taken charge. I'm sure all of us in the industry and the students have immensely benefited by this wonderful seminar of yours. To build sustainable long-term relationship for brand building, how to build relationship unconditionally, and how can that make wonders in business. We're discussing about phases of CRM and acquiring new relationships.
I can't hear.
Hello. Is there any problem?
Unni, your voice is very feeble.
Is it? Hello.
Your voice is feeble, very feeble.
Oh, is it?
You skip the volume down.
Yeah, it's high, but I don't know what happened.
I can see him, but that's okay.
You have to keep the microphone closer.
Yeah, it's not because the microphone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're discussing about acquiring new relationships, enhancing, improving relationships, retaining existing customers, steps to improve relationships, everything. You even discuss about how the government, the nations, the companies build relationships. You were talking about Sushmaji's example. That was great, sir. I thank you most sincerely from TMI side. Thank you so much for coming here. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I also thank our TMA president for Mr. Rajesh Shah for coming here and for delivering his presidential address. I thank Mr. C.K. Chandrasekharan sir, chairman of this committee, for his welcome address. Many thanks to Secretary Sunil Kumar for coordination of the program and presenting the speaker to this audience. My thanks also to honorable guests, students, TMA members. I also thank Ms. Ashley, Ms. Jinu for co-hosting the event. Thanks Shishir for the superb support, IT support. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Good.
Sunil, I have only one request. This chat, there are a lot of questions, a lot of things. I mean, if you could
Yes,
kindly record it or sort of share it with me, I would be grateful. And I just want to say on
I will
behalf
share with
of my wife Gita and my daughters, you know, it has been an emotional engagement because it's my own home city. You'll never forget Janmabhoomi.
Good. Good.
Okay, so thank you, and I'll always be interested to Trivandrum Management Association. Thank you.
We look forward for
Thank you, Mr.
many
Mohan.
good
Thank
sessions.
you.
Thank you, Mohan. Thank you, Mohan. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
all. Thank you all. Thank you, President. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MC Mason. Thank you, all participants.
Thank you.
Okay, Mohan. I'll keep in touch with you later.
Yeah, sure.
I'll call you later.
So, thank you. Thank you, Seth Chetan.
Okay, thank you. I will call you later. In
Yeah,
person.
sure. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Shishir. Thank you.